So I just want to say congrats to everyone who has graduated and now getting ready to sit for the boards. I have true test taking anxiety, so I decided to sign up for the AANP and ANCC board, with my thought process being if I don't pass one, I'll pass the other. I'll have a sitting date to pass for the other without having to submit to take for the other one. That's just me and my test taking anxiety. So what I did to prepare is I studied the leak book and I signed up for the APEA webinar review, which was in August. It was 2 days. I was at home doing it. It was a webinar. And I also bought one of their question banks and I bought a predictor exam. Also with that, I bought the MP3 player from APEA with their lecture on it, and I listened to it as I would drive to and from work. I can't say that I really studied that. I listened to it. I can't say I was concentrating on it. It was really just in the background instead of listening to music. For the webinar, it was good because I like interactive things, so I like to be able to listen to the lecture and write notes and answer their questions. So I thought that was pretty good. And after the review, I didn't go back through the manual and review anything from the review again. I was basically still just listening to the MP3 player and taking the questions from the question bank. With the leak book, it comes with the exam prep questions for each section, and I took every single last question in that. And I think that's what really helped me, taking every single last question. And then for every question I missed, I had a notebook and I wrote down the question and I wrote down the rationale and any other things that was in that question. Like if it wasn't this answer, it was this answer. And it explained to you different reasons. So I wrote every single last question that I missed, I wrote down. And then I started to see patterns like, oh, I keep missing the same questions. I need to concentrate on those. So I answered every single question. And then after my predictor exam that I purchased from APEA, I went through the sections, saw where I was deficient, and I chose those sections to go over questions again. So I passed the AANP and I passed the ANCC first time. And I really didn't think they were very hard tests. What I will say for you is you need to sit down and take, you may not necessarily need to take a predictor exam, but you need to sit down and take a test that has like 150 questions or 175 questions, because it is really taxing to like sit there for hours taking a test. So I did that before. I took four practice exams, and I think they were all from the Leaks book. I sat and took those four practice exams on separate days for the time frame it took, and just sat there and took them. So it taught me to sit there for an extended amount of time and read the questions, and your eyes will get tired, your brain will get tired. When I was taking the exams in Prometric, I actually took like 30-second breaks a couple of times and just counted down from 30, closed my eyes, did like a yoga pose, which I'm not a yoga person, but that's what I did. So then I'll say for the AANP exam, it's very critical. Know your clinical, know your gold standards, know your gold standards exams that for conditions, know your gold standard treatments, know your gold standard medications, your gold standard diagnostics, know your heart murmurs, and I saw there was a lot of heart murmur stuff on mine, so I can't say that. Know your heart murmurs, know your labs. They do give you some your lab ranges in AANP. They did not in ANCC. And ANCC, truly, I had very few clinical questions on it as compared to AANP. I had a lot of questions about diabetes on ANCC. But for ANCC, know your malfeasance, your benefits, your veracity, your autonomy. Know those type of things for that exam. It asks a lot about that. Your informed consent. Know those things. I will say that for both tests, like I said, I didn't feel they were extremely hard. I feel it's things you just might panic or be a nervous test taker like I am. So take your time and read the questions. One of the questions did try to trip me up. I noticed in AANP, it spoke about the person who was diabetic and who was schizophrenic, and what medication would cause hyperglycemia. So I was focusing on what medication would cause hyperglycemia in the answer, and I should have been focusing on which medication would the patient get who's schizophrenic that could cause. So those type of things. Any advice I could give you is just take questions. That's what my teacher told me. So I didn't read the leak book. I tried a couple of times. I couldn't read it. So I just did the questions, wrote down the rationales for things that I didn't understand. And that really helped me, just sitting there every day, just taking questions. And I took the webinar review on August the 15th and 16th, and I tested for AANP on September the 14th. And passed. And then on Saturday I took the ANCC and I passed. I didn't study for the ANCC because my fear was that I wouldn't pass the AANP, right? So once I passed it, that fear wasn't there. I went into the ANCC a week later saying whatever I know is what I know, and that's what I'll use to take the exam. So good luck, everybody. I think everybody can do it. Just take your time, read the questions. Now, the AANP is very clinical, so know your clinical stuff. Use the leak book. Use the APEA.com. And I'm not being sponsored by any of these people to say buy their stuff. But those two really helped me, and it really helped me to pass those exams. So thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to help people, anybody who have taken their FNP, has got their degree and is trying to sit for boards, because like I said, I'm a very anxious test taker, which really hurt me some in school, but didn't hurt me a lot because I graduated. But do the review courses, take the questions, whoever you decide. LEAK, APEA. I've heard great things about Sarah Michelle. I did nothing with Sarah Michelle. I know a mnemonic that helped me with my heart murmurs was Mr. Ass and Miss Ard. So remember that mnemonic. That mnemonic will help you a lot on your exam. That's all I have. Thank you.